This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time. Content presented in the following podcast is for information purposes only. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guest and may not represent the views and opinions of the Whole Care Network. Always consult with your physician for any medical advice, and always consult with your attorney for any legal advice. And thank you for listening to the Whole Care Network.
Hello, sweetie. How are you? I'm really happy to be with you today again. I'm Isabel Melgarelatest, and this is Time to Care, the Caregivers Podcast. I'm really excited about this episode today because I will be talking about forgiving our parents. Let's dig into this. When I was really young, my grandfather had a heart issue and he was in the hospital for several weeks, probably a couple of months. And my mom, well, I was really young. I was probably 6 or 7. And my mom would drop me off at school and then she would drive to the hospital and take care of her dad, who was in the hospital. During this time, they had the opportunity to talk about things that had happened in the past, and she was able to ask for forgiveness for whatever she had done wrong before, and she was able to forgive her dad for everything he had done wrong in his life, however many ways he had offended my mom or failed as a father. I'm telling you this story because we don't necessarily have time in life to forgive our parents. And let's be honest, all of our parents have failed to us, and all of them had screwed things either because of lack of knowledge or lack of understanding, or because they think they know better, or for whatever reason, or because they have different perspectives. It really doesn't matter, but their perspectives and our perspectives sometimes are not the same. And no parent is perfect. We all get mad sometimes, and we all lose control over our emotions sometimes. And we all make mistakes, and we all offend other people. Most surely your parents have offended you many, many, many times. As they grow older, and as we grow older as well, we don't have the opportunity to talk about those things in life that have hurt us throughout our lives. And today, I want to invite you to change that. The reason for that is because you want to be happy and you want to achieve a sense of peace in your life. And unless you don't want to live in peace, then it doesn't matter. But I think you want to live in peace, and you want to leave everything as clean as possible, and you want to make amends with your parents. For the most part, parents want the best for their kids. I'm not going to say every single parent wants the best for their kids, because there are some exceptions, but for the most part, parents want the best for their kids. They want them to succeed, they want them to be happy, they want to be successful in life. Because education is different, and because resources, maybe they didn't have enough resources, we failed, and they failed as parents, and we need to understand that. Today, I want to invite you to take a look and see what you need to forgive. And I want you to be brave have the opportunity to talk with your parents about this. My dad passed away when I was 20, and there were things that I never got to talk with him, even though I had a very close relationship with him. And by the time he passed, we used to go for lunch every Wednesday. So I would drive back from school and we would have lunch, and then we would meet with my mom. And even though we had this relationship when I was in college, when I was in high school, we had a terrible relationship. And when he passed, I never got the opportunity to understand his perspective, and I never had the opportunity to ask him to forgive me for how terrible I had been. I wish I had, because I think that would have given me the opportunity to know him better and to know the quality of man that he was. And I don't want that for you. I don't want you to live and regret not being able to express to your parents how you feel and why you felt that way. If you have been estranged with one of your parents, I think this is the right moment to connect with them and maybe start getting closer to each other again. Wouldn't that be fantastic? And if you're not estranged, but there are still many things that you need to say, why wait any longer and maybe lose that opportunity? I think today is the perfect time for you to connect and talk about those things that have robbed your sleep or that have given you not peace, that have robbed your peace, and you want to change that. Take that phone, make that call, drive to your parents and talk with them. And let your parents know your feelings. Let your parent or your mom, your dad know how you feel and why you feel that way. I think when we open to these kinds of conversations, we let ourselves be vulnerable, and then they feel that they can be vulnerable as well, and they can share their perspectives and their feelings with us. And I think that would be amazing. I have done this with mom several times, and every time that something like this happens, we really close our relationship. When I was younger, she used to travel. She used to go to this church stuff, and she would leave me often with friends, and that would be every single week. For a long time, I felt that she was abandoning me. Probably this is ridiculous because I know there are many other families and many other women that travel way too much and leave their kids way more than what my mom ever left me. But talking about that, like, really opens a different perspective and opens the opportunity to understand each other better. So why not? If you feel that there's anything that's been bugging you for many, many years, I think today is the perfect opportunity to open that conversation and let your loved one know how you really feel. And maybe you will find amazing replies from that conversation. And one thing that I know for certain is that you are going to feel better. I know that you are going to feel energized and you're going to feel in peace for what you did. So go ahead, grab that phone, make that call, make that drive, and have that conversation. Let yourself be vulnerable and discover how much that vulnerability brings in terms of peace into your life. And if you feel that you can't have this conversation without falling into big arguments and fights, then reach out for help. There's people out there that actually help with these and that are specialists in conflict management and estrangement and other conflicts, reach out to someone like that and ask for help. Because when the time comes, you don't want to be left behind knowing that you didn't say something important. And talking about saying something important, tell your loved ones, every one of them, that you love them. Tell them that you love them every single day, every single time that you see them. And let them know that how important they are in your life. Because that is something else that you might regret not telling them. Not letting them know that you love them and that they're special to you. Let them know how special they are for you. So, go ahead, have that conversation, and when you're done, let them know how much you love them. Thank you so much for joining me today. I was really happy to have you today. I would love having you in my mailing list. So if you haven't done so yet, log in into my website, tomcoeur.com, TUMCOEUR.com, and join my mailing list. I'm sharing valuable information there that I'm not sharing here. So I'll be happy to have you there. And if you like this podcast, give it a 5-star review, because you're going to help people like you find this podcast and listen to this as well. Thank you so much again, and hope to see you next time.
This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time.